Eersterivier.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in Radio Eersterivier. My name is Ivan Fritz. Welcome again to another week and a new month as well. So we're now in the 10th month of the year. Only 2 months left to go. So the Lord has really kept us safe over the last couple of months. If you want to connect with us today, you can do so via our WhatsApp line at 064 536 9095. 064 536 9095. You can also go to our Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok at Radio Eersterivier. You can also download our app, which is available at the Android, Apple, and NOI stores. You can also go to our website at www.radioeersterrivier.co.za. Now, I want to just quickly speak about two very important topics that we were facing since we moved into the new week. I actually reached out to Eskom and also to the South African Human Rights Commission about two issues that I took quite offense over the weekend. Firstly, now the power in Klein Vlei has been off since when? Since the beginning of or the end of last week, since Friday. And there's been nothing being done in terms of communicating with the community regarding why the power has been off. So I tried to reach out to Eskom to determine as to why the power is off and what is actually going on. And no one responded. Actually, I think I found about 10 numbers, spent 2 hours of my airtime and no one responded. But anyways, we're moving on. And then over the weekend, a video or audio leaked about the acting chief of the JMPD, the Johannesburg Metro Police Department. Her name is Angie Mokasi. Now, the ironic thing is that we now have the new law in South Africa called the Employment Equity Act, which basically tries to like the ANC says, try to resolve the issues of the past, right? But this law sets out certain criteria and certain quotas for specific racial groups in this country to determine whether or not you can work in the specific province or not. When asked about the specific law, the Minister of Employment, Mr. Tulas, suggested when the interviewer asked, but sir, listen here, if you're saying that this law now is quotas and people in the Johannesburg, which is colored descent, which is a minority there in that province, wants to work for Eskom or for Eskom, and the quota for colored people is over or is done, there's no more place left for colored people, where must these people then go and look for work? And the thing that this minister told that interview was basically they must go out of province to seek work at a different province where the quota has not been reached as of yet. Now, here's the issue that I have with this particular bill, or this law now is in power. During the hard days of the apartheid government, we also had these types of mini provinces or 4 provinces where colored people could stay, white people could stay there, and black people must stay there. And that's how the laws worked that time. Now, the same principle that they implemented during the apartheid government, the ANC government is trying to bring back now. Now, the thing is, I'm all okay with affirmative action with trying to resolve the issues of the past, but we can't do that with these types of racialized policies. We're not a communist country, we're a democratic country where the constitution of the country is supreme, that reigns supreme, and the law must apply there. So I also tried to reach out to the Human Rights Commission to ask them about this specific thing. Because how can it be that 74 people partook in this traffic warden post or program, and of that only about 60 people were given a permanent position, but only black people. No colored, no white, no Indians were given the position. When asked about why for the acting chief, she told us, and I quote, "You won't be employed because you are a colored," close quote. That's what the boss of the JMPD said. And she went further on to say that this happens in all departments across the city. There's no colors being employed because of the status quo and because of the quota. Now, mind you, a couple of weeks ago, the NCC, the National Congress of Colored Congress, or the old Triple C Party Colored Congress, Cape Colored Congress, basically went to various other businesses in the Cape Town area, in predominantly colored communities, where there wasn't a colored presence there. And they tried to close the business until such time where there are colored people employed there. And the very ANC party that tries to enact this racial laws nationally found fault with that specific method of doing these types of things. The DA went to court because the NCC wanted to have a protest action going to so-called white business areas, and they interdicted the NCC from continuing with that protest action. The question I ask once again, if you're going to allow something to happen in a specific part of the province because it benefits a specific group of people, then that must also set a precedent for all other provinces, because at the end of the day, that will cause a massive civil war in terms of our country. We cannot go back to where we were during the apartheid years of having racialized policies that only benefits a certain part of the population. We were gone. That is past now. It's time to move on and really build a true democracy that works for every single person. So 30 years after democracy, do we still have a place? Is there still a place for racialized laws in our country? That question remains unanswered. And we can't continue this way, because we're going to lose our country, guys. We really are. I always say this. Look at Zimbabwe, what happened there. They had racialized policies enacted. They, what we call here, they invaded, or not invaded, but they it took land off of of white farmers, and they expropriated the land from white farmers, and they had a massive food crisis in Zimbabwe. And the first thing government did there was to blame Western countries for sanctions. But sanctions were there because of what the regime is doing to their own people, not because of them expropriating land from white people to other farmers. And the ironic thing there was, after that took place, the government basically invited the white farmers back, come here, come farm here, because we need you. The thing is, we can't go without one another. And that's the beauty of our democracy, and that's the beauty of our country as well. We are so diverse, we are so beautiful, we are. The three different main groupings of our country, or four other groupings of our country, are so beautiful when it comes down to our color. But these types of laws will not benefit anyone. It won't benefit the economy. It won't benefit a particular person. It might now financially. But what happens when one day, and this will happen, the colored people take over and they lead this country? Can we then also impose these types of racialized policies and say, but black people can't work here, white people can't work there, because it's time for the coloreds now? These types of things is a precedent. And what happened during apartheid is happening right now. The question we need to ask ourselves, is the ANC moving us from our democracy to a communist state, where they control all the doing, where they want to control the being and everything that we do as a people? We don't know. But I hope to God they don't do that, because we cannot afford those types of measures. Our people fought hard for this democracy. We lost millions of people. Families were destroyed, livelihoods lost, because of the oppressive apartheid regime. This cannot allow to continue to happen again. We can't go back to where we were pre-1994. The young people of this country deserves much better than just being racialized and chosen as to what your color of your skin is, and you make a decision on that. We don't need that anymore. We need to really work harder on being more integrated and being more democratic and following the democratic process of having a place for everyone in this country. That was the aim of the then ANC, not the one now, the then ANC that Nelson Mandela led, to be a democratic country where everyone has a place. I always say that people are almost like a puzzle. Everyone fits in somewhere. And the moment someone is, or a puzzle is taken out, then the puzzle can't be completed. The same with our country. We cannot take out one person or one individual, because the entire dynamics will be messed up. And the way people was continuously trying to bring forth a civil war between colored, black, Indian, and white people are our politicians. They are the root cause behind everything when it comes to our racial tensions between our people. Look at the game yesterday of the Springboks. If you go to any pub or any place where people watched the game last night, you will see black, white, colored, Indian, as you know, pink, rooi, whatever. They will sit next to each other. Hulle gaan 'n bier saam drink. Hulle gaan lekker van it. In their minds, color it's not belangrijk, because the game is important that time. Go to workplaces, you will see people of color acting with one another. But our politicians are continuously trying to bring division between our people, and they're responsible for that, guys. Please be vigilant when it comes to those types of things. We cannot allow us to go back to where we were pre-1994. Ons kan nie reg gaan nie. It's really important we really stay away from that and try to our best to focus on our democracy, to build that, to lead that, and to really be more effective as a country. So yeah, that's my rant about what that chief or acting chief of the JMPD, Ms. Angie Mokasi, did. Um, so yeah. So today our guest will of course be Mr. Hemelbesem himself. He's a well-known Afrikaans artist, and we will be inviting him to our studios or via WhatsApp line today to discuss from his music journey to basically he's also the transformative journey that he's currently on, and what he's experiencing and why it took that specific journey. So please do stay tuned with us as we go there. But now we're going to go for a quick ad break, and then we're going to listen to some lekker music before we come back, and then invite Mr. Hemelbesem to come and join us in studio. See you right now.
Eersterivier.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie. Eersterivier.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie.
Thank you so much. I do hope you enjoyed that music break, of course. So we're going to quickly get in hold of Hemelbesem for him just to come on and just have a discussion around what we call colored culture, but also the transformative journey which he undertook over the last couple of months since I last saw him in 2018. I think in Stellenbosch, I last saw him there. So we're going to check out what he has to say, and let's see if he is on the line. Good day, Mr. Hemelbesem. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me loud and clear?
We can all hear you, sir. Thank you so much, firstly, for availing yourselves to be with us here in Radio Eersterivier. It's a huge honor for us here to have you as part of our show today.
Blessings, man. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, sir. Before we begin, can you just give us a brief introduction of who you are for people who might not know you? I do know everyone knows you, but just for reference of the show.
Yeah, it depends always when people ask you the question. I once walked into Worcester at the store, and a lady asked me, "Who are you?" And I said, "My name is Simon." And then she answered by saying, "That's what you are now, but you are what you were before, what you are now, and what you will be. So who are you?" But yeah, it's just something that made me and actually put me on a journey in answering that question for myself, and it brings me to answering your question in obviously in the context that you are asking. I'm Hemelbesem. People usually, the people who know me, they've have familiarized themselves with the idea that I'm in the hip hop space. I do rhyming as a form of entertainment, but predominantly on the foundation of teaching, which then is the education. And I was at the forefront of this idea of edutainment, whereas I think more than a couple of years now, more than a couple of decades ago, when we started with the idea of, social illnesses, addressing these type of things. And I was one of those guys who did it through hip-hop. And then specifically a linguist in that facet also, in terms of Afrikaans, proponent of it, and also an in advocacy of the idea of where it can go. Yeah.
So you're currently on what I call a transformative journey. Like I just told our guests, our viewers, or listeners, that I last saw you in 2018 when we were invited at Black Hat High to go to the Stellenbosch Woordfeest. But the guy that I saw that time is not the same person anymore. So can you just tell us why you chose to go on this transformative journey and what it basically means to you? And did your music or your music career play any part in the journey that you're currently on?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking me that question and not surmising from afar, I'm thankful for it because, yes, it is transformative, but it's only transformative in the sense that people look with their eyes. So, where we find ourselves is just what we've been taught. And so it'll look transformative now, but I have actually been transforming the whole time. So is it just norm? Is it how growth should be? At the pace that it should go, I'm still answering those questions for myself, but I find myself being a continuous self of what I've always been, and it's part of the answer because in the beginning, before I did hip hop, I was in church, awakened to some sort of truth that I found myself in, and I do believe in the teaching that the people in Worcester always speak about, Expression Session, the XE guys. They say you have to immerse yourself in your current context. And in my current context, I immersed myself through language because I felt at that point that our people through language were hampered. You know, we were stammering with our stories in the media, you know, in literature, just in history and the whole narrative. And for me, it was important that I use Afrikaans as the vehicle and how we use Afrikaans. So then when I got involved in that, it transformed my look. I didn't look, you know, I didn't have a beard before that. Ek het my hare bles geskeer en 'n koetjie gedra en t-shirts gedra met sekere sayings. That was also a new journey, even for my family. To them, that was like, yo, what is happening? Because before that, I was a pastor for almost 10 years, you know. So it's how life happened, and then that's how people now got to know me. And I think most people who saw me on TV, they saw me as a very smiling Hemelbesem. But people who know me from 2010 and 9 in the battle scene, 11, 12, 14, they know I rarely smiled. It was a very serious demeanor that Hemelbesem embodied. So I'm thankful that it grew to happiness first, a bit of rest, so people could see it was Hemelbesem. He's now smiling, he's talking about love, and now it is actualizing the messages that I have actually been speaking about. And I've come to find that is actually just what I've been all this time, you know, and that a lot of my brothers and sisters, my eie broers, veral in Eersterivier, waar ek vir jare groot geraak het, most of my hip-hop comes from Eersterivier. You know, my stories go to Eersterivier, die blekkies dit, and so, and you know, so it is my stout twist daar, my arm full, you know, all of these things comes from that. And now I'm actualizing this, but not just actualizing in the fact that I'm summarizing, okay, that is nou waar ek was. I've actually come to some sort of solutions and conclusions about certain things where I can aid and help. And now I'm actualizing by being what I always talked about, you know, just a bit harder and more intensively. Yeah. So that is in a nutshell, but I'd gladly extend and speak long. I have time, you know, but yeah, it's up to you. But listen, yeah, thanks for that question.
Okay, so we are still seeing countless colored people do not know who we are. And I even see this during Heritage Day where people were wearing like gowns and pink gowns and slippers. They went to work or school because they believe that's their culture. But in my view, my culture is basically I'm a koi. I'm a storyteller. We are hunters, those types of things. Do you believe that it's important for us to go and seek who we are, like you're doing currently, so that we can have a better understanding of who we actually are? Because you just mentioned now that we have a difficulty in terms of actually trying to tell the world who we are, our stories. And it's quite difficult oftentimes to tell people that I'm a color, but also I'm a koi. Because we're still not being respected enough for who we actually are.
You see, if you say you are koi, you are saying that you are a mense. Yes, a people's, not a people's person, but jy is a mens as gevolg van die mens wat voor jou staan. That is your actuality. So if you take upon that definition upon yourself, you also have to take the power of that definition, the power thereof. And that is that letters and ciphers and descriptions and words can't take the definition of the actual person in front of you away. So as iemand vir my sê, hy's colored en ek verstaan hom, hy's koi, of ek verstaan hom, hy's san, of gam, of kamisa, of whatever jy jouself wil noem, that shouldn't be dividing us at this point in time. Ek het groot geraak in 'n era, you know, 81 till vroeg 2000s. I was in Blackies and it was ek was van die eerste studente. We actually have the photos where we walked around from Denemere Primary as the first students of Black is High met Mr. Hickley them and everything, you know, and all of those things, you know, it showed me, man, that it my laat voel ek is 'n colored. And I tapped into that consciousness because I'm not wrong about it. Because as ek jou gaan vra wat is Khoi, dan gaan jy vir my sê the current understanding, the current context of Khoi, which is predominantly mense in vele en wat geplooi is, wat arm is, met vrottande en you know sulke goede. But that is not the whole totality of what Khoi is about. That is also only a phase that was captured in a time where people captured in literacy and so forth. Before that time, we were living like Amazonian people, you know. Ons het die was olifante en leeu's and all of these things, you know. So dis die narrative wat nou uitkom and nobody's challenging it, you know. As jy Portuguese history gaan check, and now we're excited to see what Chinese history and Russian history will bring to the table, because ons verstaan nog nie die history nie, maar ek noem alles dit so that people don't use letters and words. It was not our concept. Ons het nie eers vir ons die naam gegee, Khoi en Sunny. We didn't really have names. Want jy is wie jy is, wie jy is. Doesn't that sound familiar? That is the aim, that if you think you're God's child, dan moet jy ook kom by 'n punt waar jy sê I am. Nou wat is daai? Hoekom moet die am wat follow, dit wat follow jou describe? En as dan nie 'n description is, dan is jy nie meer dit nie. You know? So it's deep, but also a simple truth. You know, if you speak to kids about it, they snap it so easy. You know? So ja, daar is narratives daar buite, daar is political. As jy ek sal vir mense uit advice gee. As jy in 'n situation kom waar mense hulle is colored mal, dan sê jy ek is 'n colored. Ja, ek is 'n colored met jou, because ek sal either vir jou bewys wat jy is deur te wees wat ek is saam met jou, while ek saam met jou colored skree. It will eventually, ek sal nie sê overpower jou nie, maar dit gaan jou moeg dans. I love you to death till you find the truth that is in me. You understand? So therefore, fear then will disappear. So, hang af, as jy in a political spaces, then that's a political terminology, indigenous, aborigine, original, whatever it is, as long as I know you're talking about me. But most of the time, the people outside, they can't even define it. So you have to define it for yourself. But it does not lie, and I want to end it by saying this way. It does not lie in your description. It lies in your action about what you know. Because knowledge is all over now, all over. But what you do with knowledge is how you become known, not what you know.
And that's so important also to have the specific knowledge about who you're based. Like you said now, I am. You were raised in Blackie, like you just said now. Like the two of us attended the same high school, not the same time, however, but we attended the same high school, Blackie High. Once again, there's a narrative around specifically colored boys, that we always gangsters, was altijd drug addicts and whatever. Neither of us turned out to be gangsters. How do we then break the narrative that is out there? It's always been that colored people are normally gangsters or drug addicts. How do we break that specific narrative around our boys and community as a whole?
Yeah. Look, that is the easiest thing to do, man, because now that you know, kykie, sy's eintlik first world descended mense. First people, sy's eintlik aborigine. Nou, as jy so deur die logic gaan, dan kom jy agter, so ek het nie nodig om a certain way te wees, because dit beteken die goed behoort aan my. Okay, ja, daar is nou 'n bietjie stryery oor it somewhere in our vicinity, but there's not more than just hope. There's a truth, and now we are all building towards a template of this truth. So that is a narrative. So ek kan dit uitlewe. I can express it through my actuality, you know, and as I say actuality, I praat ek van expressing jou wees. So myne is hip-hop, byvoorbeeld. I'm just going to give an example, because at this point in life, we are not going to teach each other like we used to, you know. Ons gaan nie meer goed mense in force, because nature, God, whatever your spiritual high entity daar sit, of nie daar sit, die punt bly staan, die hoogste wet wat jy gehoorsaam, dit sal vir jou sê dat almal gaan knowledge know. So it's really how you are known. So as ek myne het, dan wil ek net vir jou die beste voorbeeld wakker maak van binne my konteks, sodat jy amper so snif in die neus kan kry. You know, because we all have that thing. Ons sniper bra. Ons kyk kom in 'n Forza of ons coconut som as ons hom het, dan het ons het 'n hele nuwe kit man. Ons het 'n hele move. So now we don't have to copy the bad anymore. We don't have to copy something that is hurting other people or destroying or is anyway destructive because ons het geleer met time dat alles kom weer terug na jou toe. En as dit nie na jou toe terugkom, kom dit na jou kinders toe of na jou huis toe of na jou straat toe, and we really don't want that. So if we want harmony, which the whole world is seeking, sê ek maar net vir my brasse nou, just be wat jy jou true jy, nie skedule en tyd en skool en werk en hy goed vir jou force op jou nie. Because you have to make a decision with that. En myne is hiphop. So wat ek gaan doen en waarmee ek besig is met daai, and I want to invite everybody, including yourself. Ons plan, ek is mos nou besig met 'n ou mense #ou mense gedagte.
Yes.
Because die gangsters en sulke goed het ons ou mense seer gemaak, you know.
Yeah.
We've disappointed them even in the grave, man. Soos is nou al so gewoond geraak het waar mense sê jou ou mense dry seker al in die graf, man, of jou ma of jou pa. So we need to honor them. En as jy inasem, as jy uitasem, beteken dit jy het lewe en jy het nog 'n kans om reg te maak, man. Even God in sy infinite wisdom sê dat man, as jy die hoogste sondaar of bad person of whatever jy is, if you only would turn, as jy turn van jou wicked ways, dan is it quick move, as a second. Ons almal het dit al ervaar, wanneer iemand bad is teen jou, en jy gaan, en hy ou persoon kom na jou toe en sê, en hy smeek, en hy sê, nie smeek nie, maar hy's hartseer oor dit wat hy gedoen het, hy het regtig sorrow. Then you instantly forgive. Isn't that a type of life that would be better for society as a whole? Yeah, so for me now, I'm working on a project that I call Dala Flex, which is, ek het 'n stage gemaak, 'n klein stage wat ek op 'n interesting manier gebruik het voor met my sake met FNB, met Namakwa wines, met daai rooi propie goede waar ek vir hulle met daai stage gaan staan het en goed geact het. Ek beplan om van plek tot plek in Eersterivier, ons het 'n spot al klaar in Eersterivier, maar is mos 'n groot area.
Yes.
So where we're going to take the stage from place to place wherever mense wil staan, en dan gaan ek op die stage staan and I'm just going to share what I feel is my truth and through my expression. En as jy 'n artist is en jy kon sien vir my daar of hoor of whatever, 'n snif in die neus, jy spoel 'n snif in die neus, ons weet mos as iemand in die plek is, dan stiek uit. As jy nog vra nie, ons wil almal harmony hê.
Yes.
Bring jy jou beste plan. That's the best thing, and actualize it. Moenie oor praat nie, because the plans are everywhere. Do it.
Just do it, yeah. Mr. Hemelbesem, I've probably told this for our listeners every single week. I'm my own NPO, and I've tried my best to really get hold of work, government, to assist me in helping our community. They are nowhere to be found. What is your opinion about the current lack of support within our, specifically colored communities, around this issue of gangsterism and young people who don't go to university, don't have jobs, homeless, and rather go choose a gangster life on that issue?
Look, it's a multifaceted question that causes for a complex answer, but I'm going to speak to the heart of it. And the heart is poverty, and the how poverty looks, how it feels, how it has been experienced, and how it genetically still vibrates within every person who is angry. You understand? So it comes from a very deep place. Even when I did anthropology, a little bit of it, ek het nie 'n graad in die goede gedoen, but I did, was daar 'n paragraaf wat gesê het dat poverty is a violation against humanity. There's a violation van law. There's violence, wat het genoem, you know? It's an actual act. Poverty is something so wrong. Jy kan dit met enige ander negativity daar sit. En as jy dit cause, dan is jy deel van daai probleem. Nou, as ek het mos groot geraak ook met gangsters. Hardcore manne, middelmatige manne, ouens wat aan die begin is, luitjies wat begin steel. You know, ons het in die Eersterivier gebly. So my father was the guy that people, as hulle goed gaan steel het by 'n ander plek, ek verkoop dit by hom and so on, which we thought is good, man. Hier gaan dit geuse word vir die beste way. You know, so Ons was hy broer, op die jaar het manne gewerk saam my, wat generals was, Pikkie van die Sarrie State, hy het gesterwe vir die wat dalk ken, so ek gaan maar net noem, hy het gesterwe in Vredendal, met 'n mandrakspyp in sy hande, hy het saam met my gewerk, toe was ek maar 14, 15 jaar oud, as 'n carpenter. And gangsters is nie idiots. In fact, they are some of the few excellent in actualizing their idea of a solution. And I've spoken about it so many times, but people, they sometimes mistake it for something different. Wat ek probeer insinuate. Maar as jy nou aan dink, gangsters die taal, die nommetaal is geskep deur ons mense. Dit is so kan ek sê 'n komplekse taal. But yet you have to go into jail. If you're in jail, it's a very tough, hard and harsh circumstances. But even in the circumstances, you have to study and learn the language. Jy moet in 'n paar weke dat accurately kan ken en display, anders te gaan jy dit nie maak daar binne nie, En hy taal bevat alle tale in hierdie land en nog ander woorde wat geskep is binne dit. Dit word gepraat deur alle rasse in hierdie land. It is run by the hierarchy of manne wat in die Kaap veral die hoë rang het. And even die gangsters know, hulle gaan in besigheid. It's evident around us. Gaan kyk maar hier om ons is sweet mos nou waar die manne begin invest. These guys are in culture also. Hulle is in oral, but hulle is in die plants, hulle is in alles. But the problem is met gangsterskap is, it holds cunningness. Dit hou cunningness. Dit beteken ek moet nog vir jou over, soos die Aya sê. I have to still be cunning with you. Ek moet jou somehow beat. And that is not how we will live forward. Want dan gaan 'n ander system kom, Afriforum, hulle gaan kom en hoe gaan ons vir die gangsters uit, al die gangsters gaan kom en ding, hoe gaan ons die Nigerians uithou? But now because they've all switched to business, for instance, they've forgotten the values of our people. Because hoeveel kere word ons kindertjies nou gevat uit die gemeenskappe uit? Deur foreigners. Yes. That was not a thing. Maar nou laat ons 'n groot gangsters aan wat hulle plekke kontrol. Ek ran vir Mitchellsplein, ek ran vir BLA. Ja, dis. Maar hier slip aan hom, meisies onder ons uit. Have you been part of that? Verstaan, nou begin man hy questions het. So 'n gangster circle, maar dis nie almal nie. Die OGs, die fight nou of die lyn wat daar tussen is tussen groot mense, die ou mense en die jonger garde. Die jonger garde het die expertise, hulle het die drome en die planne en hulle sien al die failures van die groot manne, but they are trying to show them the good things as well, and hulle must die. And the youth is missing those good values. So they're missing respect, number one. Hulle miss patience. And those are just some of the facets of love that they want to perpetuate. So dat gaan nie werk sonder die values. Jy moet slow down. Maar nou daar's trust issues. So in die gangsters het jy daai geval, die ou 26, 28, 26 generale, hulle is selfies vir die jong spanne wat besigheid en bo die values van respek en dissipline push. En in selfs in die kerk system, die ou pastore, die jong pastore, dan kyk maar nie besigheid, nou wat teken by akkerman, hulle die jonger manne, hoe hulle die saak wil kon doen, because they have great ideas. Ons het great ideas that will take the business forward. But here's the answer. Die probleem is juist met business. Want business, soos hy daar staan, is wat ons arm hou. So we have to not look at jobs as an answer. A job kan maar net a transitional idea na 'n answer te wees. Maar jy kan nie so met alle erns en bloed en God maak van 'n job wat vir jou gaan hou minder as wat jy is nie. So om nou vir mense te sê hier's millions of jobs hier in Eersterivier van 'n factory, dan gaan almal elke dag soos by blou pakkies gaan en terugkom. We have seen that over and over and over again, and what it produced over and over again. So don't be fooled by that. Ons moet governance actualize. Dit beteken government is daar, ons respect dit, maar waar dit nie die notion van ons handhaaf nie, daar actualize ons dit. So by voorbeeld, as ek by 'n skool kom en die skool handhaaf harmony, kom ek noem dit maar net so, en harmony is dan nou great, die harmony loop mooi daar, dan is dit my skool. Dan dit beteken dit is 'n plek waar almal alles kan wees, sonder om bang te wees en sonder om arrogant te wees. Die balance van daai. But as dit in die kunsklas is waar die probleem is, and I am there, I have to actualize it. As dit tussen die agricultural man is, dan moet ek het actualize. So, ek praat wyd, want as 'n Khoi man nou, is die focus en 'n San man, of hoe ook al julle voel julle is dit vir my belangrik om na various aspects te kyk. Want ons issues is lê in variables, you know? So, sorry dat dit so rond is. Dis 'n omelet, maar hy is, hoe sê julle? Hy een wat so oop lê. Ja, hy is oopgevlek.
Is 'n vinnige vraag vir van Josh Junior Kanye. Waarin Eersterivier beoog julle om die Dala Flat program te run?
Eiste, wherever dit ge-actualize kan word. As 'n braaf vir my sê, my broer, ek het die, ek dink ek kan met hy manne praat, ek kan hier krag inplak. Gazi, we will try our best to be there. You understand? So, because now is it actualization, that is actually a great example van it. So, as julle 'n salon het, of 'n barbershop, of whatever, my broer, stiek uit, dan bring ons sommer nog 'n barber of twee, kry vir Looney, nog ander manne, vat af. They're not going to have a problem to do this, né? Almal het mos nou nie die resources nie. Yes. Ons wag vir geld, maar ons het guns. Gaan kyk wat is in jou guns. Wat is in jou guns? As dit geld, dan help ons met geld. As jy vervoer het, help ons met vervoer. As jy 'n kossietjie het of 'n water, bring die water. As jy kamera het, jy weet mos is more powerful if all of this goes live en dit word gecapture. Nou kom doen dit. Ons kan nie nou nie, you know? So, that's how we can help each other, my brother. Maar dankie. Ek is super dankbaar. At least for the question. Ja, so dankie.
So, gaan alles in ook collaboration en samenwerking om alles moontlik te kan maak. Back to your question around actualizing government. As baie diep by vraag, maar hoe gaan dit like vir layman's term, vir 'n persoon wat miskien nie so diep kan dink, hoe gaan hy vir hulle kan actualize? Hoe kan ons government actualize in ons lewe, vir alles in ons kleine gemeenskap?
Yes. Ek sal sê, nee, kyk links en regs. As jy uitgaan in jou huis of jy staan op, kyk links en regs. Dan kyk jy wie is die naaste voorbeeld van waar jy voel jy kan, wie se teenwoordigheid jy voel jy kan verbeter. Jy kan groter gaan, jy kan leer. En dan gaan en gee jou volle positiewe bydrae daar. Kyk wie, want hy's gewoonlik die manne wat harmonie try bring in hy plek. En soms is dit 'n eie, you know, wat jy sien, daar's altyd 'n klomp jong manne om hom. And you know, it's his spirit, his vibration, say knowledge, say experience, you know, whatever facet you find yourself in waar jy gevoel, as jy oggend opstaan, dan voel jy mos ek is vandag in so 'n mood of ek is so 'n lus. Soms van julle is om goed te skryf. Vind daai voorbeeld wat daar is daar buite, naby jou of ver. En ek wil jou challenge, as jy dit nie kry nie, gaan kyk die my goede. En as daar iets is wat donker of duister of bietjie grys areas is, that you're not certain about me, kom vra vir my, dan gaan ek jou sê, dis wat ek doen. If you feel you can help me, dan kan jy vir my help, you know? So, ons is nou in 'n maand waar ons besig is met die ou mense ding, en ek was nou 'n paar dae terug, was ek in Klein Willem, toe ek in die hooflig, die dae geopen, by die plek saam met net 'n klomp kinders. En, you know, as jy 'n saal vol kinders sien, imagine elkeen vat net 'n kaartjie, of gaan sê net vandag, gaan sê hulle vir daai een persoon wat vir hulle hart warm laat klop, man. Nie omdat hy persoon iets gee nie, soms is dit maar net omdat dit 'n ou man is wat jou ten minste groet, en jy sien daai persoon bedoel dit. Yes. You know, it's rare. Go and tell that person, thank you, I appreciate you. As almal hy in een saal doen, that's 700 to 1,000 people, what type of atmosphere are we contributing to tonight in Eersterivier alone? That's one school, you know? As ons begin dink vanuit ons position, nie van wat mense wil feed nie, van jou position. Wat is jou position? Hoe dis jou land? Hier wat jy staan is dit jou jaar. Maar moenie dink aan wat ek nou alles kan own nie, dink aan wat jy al reeds own. Jy is die legitimate leader van die spasie. Lead it met grace. Lead it in die peace wat jy wil sien happen. Lead it in forgiveness. Lead it in hy mooi dinge, and you will see the change that you bring from that perspective. Yeah, so governance op papier, paperwork is 'n storie. Ons was involved in dit vir so lank, ek kan met julle sit, lawyers op lawyers op lawyers. en hoe dit gaan, maar all of the systems, it's not systems that helps advocating in sy current form. It advocate nie vir harmony nie. Dit wil ook nie harmony hê nie. Dit is eintlik 'n boxing fight. It is a level platform as a boxing ring. And it's playing around with something that's serious, as ek het so kan sê. Truth is a serious matter. And our people's lives is a very serious matter. And ons ou mense, for that matter, is a serious matter.
Okay, so Mr. Joskan, he will message you regarding, because he's available for that specific project, but he will message you, Mr. Hemelbesem, in due course. Now, we are well aware that you are one of the most famous Afrikaans hip-hop stars out there. Do you believe that young people must step into music in order for them to basically not partake in any gangs activities or verkeerde paadjie miskien te vat nie? And how do we exercise basically music in that sense?
Great, thank you for the question. I think Radio Eersterivier is a pivotal part of that. And I'm saying that because as of this morning and yesterday, en eintlik al 'n paar jaar terug, het ek aan my site gesit. I've been there, I've visited, and also with the idea, because I saw what needs to be done from my perspective. And wat ek moet bydra of wat ek moet bygooi. So radio is going to be key. En ek gaan nou in the tap, but I really want us to define wat is 'n negative voete.
Okay, so we seem to lost connection there, but we'll try again to go back to there. But I must say that it was quite an interesting topic so far that we had. Finding your basically find actuality to myself to do, because often we always complain about every single thing, but we lack actually doing part of that. And a very important quote I had to write down here was basically, you must immerse yourself in your current context. Vind eers jouself waar jy vandag is en dan bou jy daarvan af. We're going to try to get hold of Mr. Hemelbesem again. Let's hope the connection is better now. Load shedding most alles op mense. Let's hope we'll get back to him to finish the last bit of the interview with him.
Kan jy my hoor?
Yes man, ek dink die load shedding weer begin mos nou.
Ja. As dit jammer man. Ek dink dit is my kans gewees. Ja, jammer oor dit. Kan ek aansig gou gee daar weer?
Jy kan aangaan, ja.
Yeah. So, wanneer het komt bij actualization, is het baie important om jezelf die vraag af te vragen. Let's define what is bad. Because als je ook gaat zien met de stop, wat nou staan met een stop, versus wat ze staan het met vandaag, versus wat ze staan het met de stop 10 jaar terug, versus wat met een stop gestaan het 30 jaar terug. Dan gaan het different context wees. Verstaan. Dieselfde met enige ander ding wat jy vandag kry. Daai tyd was dit sigaret. Jy kan teruggaan na alles toe. Mandrex, so na elke ding tog. Dan het elkeen sy lelike ding wat saam met dit kom, maar in hierdie tyd is dit belangrik om hy te define. Die beste way vir my is om weg te bly van hey, daai bra gaan nou baie dinge doen en so aan. Net om weg te bly uit daai mindset, because even ek hou van hoe skripte dinge sê man, because it help vir my om te actualize waarvan ek praat. En daar's die mooie gedeelte waar David moet geanoint word as king man. En ek dink baie van ons lyfies voel soos 'n David, Hulle wil in music dinge gaan doen en hulle wil hulle assimilate ook met die David story in die time, and it is important die Goliath, because die Goliath kom wys vir jou wat is jou purpose man. Hy kom maak hy wakker, hy irriteer jou tot in daai ding in. Sien jy, en dan staan sy op. Maar voor David was, het Samuel gekom en hy het leaders gesoek. So, leaders vir hom was ou moet groot lyk, hy moet so lyk. In ons vandag se konteks sal ek sê, hulle wil hê ou moet 'n suit aan het, of hy moet 'n kwaai kar het, of hy moet ryk is, of hy moet baie slim is, of hy moet die, of hy moet daai, of hy daai, maar hy moet 'n goeie persoon wees. Nou ek wil vir julle sê, it's very tough to find a truly good person met almal hy goede in lyn. So, wat ek agtergekom het is waar Samuel ingekom het, hy het elke broer daar so gevat. It's all significant, the numbers is significant, die 7 seuns voor hom en die alles die goedjies. But when he chose him, toe God vir hom sê, my broer, hy sê vir Samuel, kyk jy hom se moenie kyk in die uiterlike nie. kyk die man se hart. Daai is waar daai woord vandaan kom. That phrase that we use so freely now, it comes from that narrative, that story. Moenie na die man se uiterlike kykie. So I say that, ek kan nou freely speak met julle en sê, God het my allow om in die laaste tyd met gangsters, met druggies, met die scum of the earth, te hang en te sit, and it is the most special people, and because of a definition in die matrix, dan is hulle nou nie meer deel van die answer nie, but they are. Hulle harte is van God af, man. Is God se skepsel. It is image. It might not be his likeness according to our likeness. Maar jy weet dan nog nie soos God se likeness is. Because we all have failed. We all have come short, So, maar nou, as hy gaan search, so ek sal sê, haal hy definition van bad eers weg. So, in die good en vir my, kom ons vat art. Art is expression session het ons omtrent so, ek dink 18, 19 jaar terug begin. En expression het gekom na my toe met die woord wat het sê express. En XEX is die woord hoe jy X vat in mathematics. En mathematics X beteken 'n plekhouer vir wat ook al. Dit is 'n spesifieke definisie dus. En hy maak dit vir my sin dat toe ons expression session begin het, dat ons altyd wou hê mense se X moet uitkom. Hulle X-faktor, hulle daai wat hulle different maak. Maar die stelsel om hulle, waar ons nou is, forceer vir jou om soos iemand anders te wees. Jy kan dit half escape, maar julle as jonger mense moet 'n way vind tussen daai deur en ons is hier om mekaar te guide, om nie disrespect in school systems en disrespect in reels nie, maar om die balans te vind. Want daai reels gaan jou regte kreatiwiteit weghou. Soos nou, waar ons hiphop was gepredikte deur myself, geprophesied en as jy wil, in my way. Ek weet, ons het ook al gepraat, maar Afrikaanse hiphop. The reason I became a proponent is because in Blackie, by Blackie School, toe staan ek het gepreek daar, toe ek moes tot bekering gekom het in highway nou, en toe ek nou eendag daar so staan, toe sê ek, ja, die mense op die skool, hulle luister nie na my nie. Maar toe rap Sputnik daar van Blackie, daai tyd was hulle crucial climax, the first hip-hoppers in Eersterivier. En hulle twee het gerap, en toe sien ek hoe vlak die mense na die stage toe. Toe dink ek, maar ek het dan 'n good message. So, as ek 'n message wil kry, moet ek dit seker so doen. And it's like, I asked God, man, ek sal ook like om hy te doen. It's like, I got a nudge to go to the side of Blackie, hy saal was net laag gebou. Toe gaan staan ek langs die kant daar aan die linkerkant van hy saal, as jy nou van die voorkant staan, as 'n deel van die gehoor. And when he came out to say, kom Sputnik my bro, ek wil hy musiek, hy het weet van backtracks nie. Dus ek soek hy musiek agter wat hy opgerep het, hy sê, hy gaat saam my huis toe. And that afternoon, I went to him in Denemeer, tot by sy huis, hy het vir my nog 'n beat gespeel, van Bob Marley, wat hy opgechop het daar, op 'n cassette, en toe gee hy vir my 'n beat, ek dink dat hy ghetto, iets superstar, of iets van hy tyd nou. And that Friday, I wrote something, and that Monday, me and Hein de Vries, who is a famous actor, Melissa de Vries' brother, who's also famous, who I know from that time already, toe het ek daar so, toe skryf ek vir hom en vir myself 'n verse. En toe rap ons hy maandag. Ek het nog gehakkel. Want hoekom is die eerste keer, man, dit gebeur. Hier is die hele kinders, hulle gaan ons nou jokes maak. En ek het gehakkel, toe ek hak, toe val alles plat en toe lag iemand, toe skree iemand uit die kraad uit, doen dit weer. And that person actually motivated me to rewind ons hy cassette, to begin ons dit oor, and that's how Hemelbesem started. So, I say all of that to say that Eersterivier has a lot to say and to contribute to rebuilding the narrative of our people. And hip-hop, en Afrikaanse hip-hop specifically, en dan saam met het reggae, raga dancehall, waarvan ek ook betrokken was. Van die begin van die movement. Everybody who know the starting of raga en dancehall, en reggae, whatever die name is wat mense wil byvoeg, die begin afvan, die Afrikaans van dit. Kom by manne soos Leon, Leon Klaaste daar van Atlantis af, Selector, wat is hy man? Ek gaan sy naam kry, maar Leon, ken hom ons nou as Leon Klaaste, so jammer nou as ek Selector Joseph, denk ek. But blessings vir hom. So ek het al hy tyd met hy man gewerk, en saamgewerk, en was 'n blessing vir mekaar, but die sounds, ons moet die bass terugbring, ons moet die anger terugbring, ons moet die liefde terugbring, en ons moet die mooi in al die goedes terugbring. So, om nou te staan net jou skill te wil wys, is nie jou hoogste vlakkie. Ons weet almal is gevaarlik. Jou hoogste vlak is wat jy contribute en hoe jy opbou in jou. En dit beteken nie jy hoef pap te wees nie. Ek het tattoos van manne op my wat vloek en sulke goed so. Dit beteken nie ek is teen vloek en hy nie. Ek sê net gebruik dit, laat dit mense bou. En moenie met pangas kote kom nie, because jy gaan dit terugkry, man. Jy ken nie alles nie. That's one thing that God showed us on this point. So hip-hop specifically is a very, very important thing. En aan die ander kant wil ek maar net byvoeg dat die kerk, die koortjies, en ons was lank proponents van het voor koortjies op die TV was, het ons gewerk, 5 jaar met ATKV gewerk, om koortjies daar te kry. So, because al is het iets wat maar net oor en oor dieselfde is, ons weet hoe powerful it is. Now you can't explain that to somebody, maar dat is net 4 lyne. Hy is 'n werklikheid, hy is 'n werklikheid, hy is 'n werklikheid. Maar if you do it, it's something else because it's connected to wie ons is. So we have to start doing things vanuit ons uit, nie van buite af, comparative nie, maar vanuit ons af, you know. Ek kom om uit te pair met jou as jou comparative dan vat die na my toe, you know. So yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Back to your journey about transformation. Do you believe that every single person in Eersterivier, in Cape Town, in Western Cape, must basically partake on this journey? Not like you, but in their own image, to find themselves who they actually are, who God created them to basically be?
Look, it's not even up to me to or even up to us to discuss it. It is just a truth. Everybody will. And everybody is being, is part of our partaking in that journey. In that journey, nobody is escaping it. It's the law of nature. Because waar ons nou is, ons het mos net understanding geseek en knowledge geseek, but ons wil knowledge sonder God hê, So, ons het knowledge geseek net soos ons het wil verstaan het. But hy was enforced op ons, maar nou is ons deel van het, hier wat ons is. So, nature homself moet ons uitspoeg. It's a fact. As jy rondom jou kyk, we were the advocates of almost everything. Ek kan maar sê, elke negatieve ding hier op aarde het ons gecontributed. So when as jy die narrative vat, nie noodwendig die Christian narrative, but any Judeo-Christian narrative wat include Jewish, Islam, met die monotheism, maar even polytheism, kan vir jou sê, the world started with harmony, with good. So, met mense se appearance, en veral om nie te gaan, om sy eie wil te volg, maar hy sy eie kop volg, nie wil nie. Het gemaakt dat ons niet samen met nature gegaan het, but the trajectory now is on such a level that we don't deserve to be here. Ons deserve om hier te wees. Die bome kan teen ons getuig, die grond kan teen ons getuig, die diere kan teen ons getuig, die lug kan teen ons getuig, mense kan teen ons getuig, die sjaar wat in die spieël staan kan teen jou getuig, So, law is happening. The great thing is, we as a people here, die Khoi en die San mense, we understand it to be a time waar ons ou mense het reeds was reeds gepunished for die possibilities, based on the laws van nature himself. Ons was gepunished as a collective consciousness, ons mense, die Khoi en San mense, op elke level wat jy kan dink van punishment, het ons deurgemaak.
Yes.
En ons het dit gedoen wat uniek is van ons. Ons het dit gedoen sonder om het terug te gaan gee op die level van wat het gegee is. Daar's natuurlik hier en daar 'n captain of 'n ding wat gevoel het hy gaan alleen gaan fight of so. Maar as a collective people, a community, we've never decided ons gaan nou uit gaan roei. Ons gaan nou oor gaan vat. Ons gaan nou terug uitdish. Ons gaan nou no. We've suffered graciously. And that is the embodiment of the narrative of a Christ. You understand? En dis hoekom die narrative vir ons so dear at heart is. Hoekom ons mense so maklik Christians, die idea of notion van Christianity accepted. Because that sounds like us. Om punishment te vat for love's sake. Dis nie dat jy mos nou nie weet nie. Ons weet, hier vat die mense alles, maar jy staan aan, jy gaan ook na jou vrou toe en sê, jong, die ouwe daar nou die goed gevat. Ek verstaan nie lekker hoekom het hy nou gevat het, maar ons kyk maar. Ons is maar so. Hier sit hulle, hey, kyk nou daar jong. Wat? Hoe het hulle nou die ding so gemaak? Hey, maar los dit maar. Ons kyk maar. Maar die Here, ons vertrou maar. Is die attitude van trust. And that is something that even in biblical narrative, as jy nou truth vat, op 'n meer logos level, logical level, but say that, that you must at least believe that God is, vra faith. And once you do that, daar is die begin van sê ek is lief vir God. Whatever your idea van God is. So, you must at least believe that God is. So, ons het altyd geglo hy is. Regardless, amper soos ons kan sê, Noba wat jy dink, het hy dreads, is hy balded, is dit 'n wit man, is dit 'n die, lyk dit soos 'n man, is dit 'n die, is dit water, is dit die. Ons glo dat God is, ons glo so dat God is, dat God vir ons in alles en deur alles is en moet wees. Because alles om jou is gemaak van God en gegee vir jou, you know? But how we go around with these things, sê vir ons baie van ons relationship met God. So, knowledge het ons gedryf in a way waar ons weg is van nature. Nature himself, bome, diere, they are always directly in the will of God. En in die laws wat daar is van nature. As jy vir hulle displace na 'n plek toe, dan adapt hulle in hy, in a way wat nog steeds vir almal gaan benefit. Nie soos ons gaan vat oor, ons destroy. En as ek sê ons, dis mos ons plek. Nou hier het die boere gekom, en ek praat van landbouers, en hulle het monocultural goede geplant vir klomp eike, so baie van ons gronde gaan dood, en 'n klomp negative goed. Maar dit is nog steeds onder ons watch. So ons is ook responsible saam met dit in die spiritual realm. So hier was nou is, die aarde moet ons wegspoeg, my broer, but grace is die soul ding wat maak dat ons hier staan. En dit het baie te doen met die ancients, dit het te doen met goed wat ons lekker kan oor debate, maar een van die dinge is ons ou mense, wat hulle al reeds deurgemaak het, what they've already sacrificed, what they have given up. Hulle het hulle X-factors opgegee. Hulle het hulle hobbies opgegee. In fact, they are despising your hobby because they've given up theirs. But in their heart of hearts, it was before a better future for you, for people. Want daar is 'n God ten minste, you know, most of us. So, ons is in a good space. Ek wil net hê my broers en susters veral moet 'n voorbeeld wees en nie 'n voorbeeld gaan soekie van daai harmony. En music is nou ons ding. We believe through music our people will be healed, and through different arts, of the dance of whatever, maar as jy gaan art express het van jou ware, soos die Boesman sê, van jou ware noem, daai is jou highest possibility van jy wees. Bring daai uit. En jy kan net daai kry as jy daai met al jou hele hart uit jou neighbor uit wil uithaal, eerste, voor jy jou uithaal. Yeah.
Mr. Hemelbesem, as we end off this interview, do you have any parting words to our listeners, to any up-and-coming young musician, rapper, hip-hop star? Any parting words from your side, please, sir?
Ja, man. The sight, it heightens me. Vanaf hoog na laag, my oog verdraak wat ek met die hoogste akkuraatheid van die heights of speak, so stadig dat elke letter dalk 'n hyphen need, selfs stadiger, want is nou die tyd vir hyper speed. Ons moet nou die mense hyper feed met die most hyper diems. Dit is hoe ons die mense moet feed. Met die most hyper diems, die van Christ, supplied to supply, die is sy se dien. I supply to supply, want die is sy se diens. It comes from living up to him, and he uplift me to the size of trees. With a surgical knife, I'll cut you off a slice of me. Maar stop meneer jou kop kraakie, want God sal seker maak dat die stok in my pot nie opraakie. Los praatjies op 'n stofstraaitjie. Die los en vas gejok is las. God is 'n judge, is daar nie vir die hofstaakie. So, ek vra jou, bepaal jou by die nou. nou in die narrow. En dan sal sy aan God aan glow. En dan op hom vertrou. Deur die nou met die arrows. En dit wat dit binne hou, dit skei die au van die ello verby die prikke op pelie. Ons soek mos die vrug, nie die velie. As ons dit oorbrug, dan oorbrug ons die rebellie vanaf 'n kooppunt na die beloofde land. So gaan ons saam in reality. Dis waarom sit ons nou al ons eise vir huise in. Want is in die simme waar jy jou taste van flavor vind. So, ek wil vir julle sê, elkeen van julle, ek bring die flavor. Sien, ek is favor flav. Favor flav. Ek bring die favor flavor. Deze time, maar die favor is op jou as gevolg van jou ou mense. As een van die redes. Jy gaan nog ander redes kry, belangrike redes, maar een van die redes, as jy ten minste dit kan gryp. Jy het die favor. Discover die en gee die vir jou naaste. Gee die vir jou naaste en dan sien hoe lig die Here jou.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir, for coming by. Dank dat u een keer af net by ons kom join en by kom gesels oor die musiek. We really enjoyed it. Thank you once again.
Blessed. Dankie, ek waardeer dit. Seën vir julle, man. Mooi bly.
Baie dankie, sir. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Wow. So ja, het ons maar lekker live edition gehad op die show. Baie dankie aan Hemelbesem daar vir die wat die afgesin. Ons kom gesels rondom sy journey, maar ook baie diepe dinge, ja, waar. So I said, let's find our own actuality and let's just do that. We often cry foul about various different things in our community, but we don't do anything about it. So yeah, please do get hold of Mr. Hemelbesem if you want to get or be part of the Dala Flat program. So Mr. Jos kan net gesê hy wil graag part daarvan word. So kom ons voordeel, kom ons support, kom ons wys dat Eersterivier kan change as ons wil. Bly weer van gangsters, guys. Let's make something of ourselves. Let's change the narrative, because we have a narrative on our colored people that we always just gangsters, we need die. But we can be a difference. Like you just said now, it starts by us. Like I can say that also, and I quote, Eersterivier has a lot to play when it comes to changing the narrative. We have a lot to play. We are a beautiful community. We are a unique community, and we can make so much difference in this world if we unite, if you put aside our differences, and we just want to make a difference. Basically all that matters. So I want to play the song of Hemelbesem, God praat Afrikaans, and I will then come back and greet you all to say goodbye. I hope you will enjoy this one. Hemelbesem, God praat Afrikaans.
Eersterivier.
Our station, our talent, our people.
Die ding rukkie.
Context kom van 'n kontekst, sekondes met 'n big blom en nie omtrek van jou konteks. Want wie dan hom klaar verbeel, wie dan die taal gesteel, ou wat die kraal beheer of die ou wat die skape deel. Sulke vrae, wel het hinne my nie, het was 'n anomalie, want in 'n manier is dit Afrikaans as hy praat, binne my hier. God praat Afrikaans, brother, God praat Afrikaans. Ek is so reed dat God praat Afrikaans. God praat Afrikaans, brother, God praat Afrikaans. Ek is oorreed dat God praat Afrikaans. Al wat jy moet doen is om te luister. Ek wou het eers helemaal ook westig, maar van Woester, Vredendal en Blekkie, oral waar die woorde val, oor 'n man was hektiek, so Sodom en Gomorra was die oomblik net elektrik, dek die liedse woord in my ore, van God onthou my lot is nou om te kyk soos Lot se vrou, in plaas van sout was het toe suikersoep, even my Bybelboek geskrywe ook wat David roep, voor 1000 troep, Binne hulle se view en Satan loop soos 'n brullende leeu. Ek hoor dit nou nog in my om te saan. Sy kan maar kop krap man, want God praat Afrikaans, brother, God praat Afrikaans. Ek kan my case even verder vat, net dat hy my gebed verstaan. As ek verder praat, as ek met die herder praat, want God praat Afrikaans, brother, God praat Afrikaans. Niemand gaan my strain nie, want niemand ken die lirieke diepte van ek en hy nie. Sê net hoe hy my check as ek 'n hoek kan nie belei nie. En hoe ek my bek reek as ek in my sin kry nie. Brother, ons vloek en skel, draai ons rug op mekaar en ons roep en bel. Taal waar in my bloed roep en neem my bloed op tel. Want God praat Afrikaans, brother, God praat Afrikaans. Ek is oortuig dat God praat Afrikaans. Verstaan sy, die taal is wederzijds. Verstaan sy, so praat hy hier mee. Verstaan sy, ek by vader lering kry. Verstaan sy, vandag verlede tyd. Verstaan sy, verstaan niks edelzij. Verstaan sy, sy moet maar die Here blame. Verstaan sy, maar het gaan nie meer om my. Verstaan sy, want ons praat die hele tyd. God praat Afrikaans, brother, God praat Afrikaans. Ek is oortuig dat God praat Afrikaans. God praat Afrikaans, brother, God praat Afrikaans. Ek is oortuig dat God praat Afrikaans. Luister, luister. Al wat jy moet doen is om te luister.
Eersterivier,
Our station, our talent, our people.
die ding ruggie.
Right, so I do hope you enjoyed that ad break there, guys. So I must just say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us today and really being part of the show once again. I do hope you enjoyed our discussion there with Mr. Hemelbesem himself. Like Mr. Wow said, he's really a pioneer when it comes to Afrikaans hip-hop and music itself. Next week, we're going to have Parliament in studio to basically discuss more about what our rights are as voters, but also how can we hold our public representatives accountable for their incompetence. So yeah, hulle gaan nie wees. Please to stay tuned. Please to share our show, the radio station, with your friends. I heard this morning we just going over to almost 10 million. So we're moving, guys. We're moving. Amper by 100 million mense, but we're moving there. You can do that if you all say, like, and tell your friend about Radio Eersterivier. It's awesome stars, it's awesome mensen, awesome talent. And we need to be proud of what we have. So my side, the whole team at Radio Eersterivier, be safe, take care until next time. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Eersterivier,
Our station, our talent, our people.
die ding ruggie.